This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl. Welcome back to Hour 2 of Gun Sports Radio, where your hosts Dave Stahl, Lance Pelkey, and Michael Schwartz educate you on anything and everything related to our Second Amendment right. Visit gunsportsradio.com with your questions and comments, or to learn how to become a sponsor and or guest of the show. Now here comes Hour 2 of Gun Sports Radio and your hosts Dave, Lance, and Michael.
All right, folks, welcome back to Gun Sports Radio, Hour 2. Sit down, strap up, and let's rock. Hey, you can also find all our shows on your podcast platform, whatever that might be. Just go to gunsportsradio.com, gunsportsradio.com. This hour is brought to you by Cali Key. Cali Key is a drop-in solution for any AR-15 or AR-10 to instantly make it California compliant. For more information, check out Cali Key at calikey.com. That's KALIKEY.com. Self-defense and emergencies can happen to anyone, and unfortunately, the justice system may not be on your side. While you protect your family and property, U.S. Law Shield is here to defend you 24/7, 365 days a year, with the comprehensive self-defense coverage at an affordable price. Bad guys don't take days off, and neither does our coverage. What's your plan after you defend yourself or your family? Consider a plan from U.S. Law Shield. Check them out today at uslawshield.com. That's uslawshield.com. It's more important now than it ever was. This segment is brought to you by San Diego County Gun Owners. Go to SDCGO.org. $10 a month will keep you in the loop, keep you safe, and your family. Right now, we've got Joe Germisi, and he's going to talk to you about what happens when the little sheep are frightened.
Yeah, as soon as I overcome this the stress here, that's my segment. But what I've written about this week, and the same as last week, I guess, is talking about this COVID-19 thing that we're all stuck talking about right now. And the gist of both of the articles in the last 2 weeks is that the virus itself is real. It's not, and I'm not trying to belittle or make light of the thing. I mean, it's a real thing. But the over-the-top hysterical reaction is not warranted by what's going on, from a health point of view. And the problem with this reaction, the things that are going on out there are making it much, much worse. I think the damage that's done, the number of people that are going to be hurt by things like shutting everything down now and keeping things shut down indefinitely, is going to end up hurting a lot more people than the actual virus. And, part of this is, because Michael was saying, okay, we'll debate this, the reactions and all this stuff here. And you'll hear my side of it will be my position on it anyway will be obvious. But, people are making a lot more out of this than they should. And again, if you look at just the numbers, and I'm not saying we shouldn't be taking precautions, you should be doing everything you would normally do when we have a bad flu outbreak. And I'm not trying to minimize this virus or belittle it or anything like that. But I am saying it's when everything is said and done, chances are really good that what this is going to look like from a public health point of view is going to be a bad flu year. I mean, that's really what this is going to look like. And dealing with that, it does not warrant shutting down our economy, because if you look at this, for right now, everything is shut down at least till the end of the month, probably longer than that from what they're saying. And it's one thing to shut everything down for a couple of weeks, but to continue that for, say, through April, through May, a lot of companies can't go like that. You have to remember in this country, probably it's a little over 60% of the people that work in this country work at small or medium-sized companies. And a lot of these companies, like you see the restaurants, the bars, places like that, can't stay shut down for a month or 2 months or 3 months. There's some places that, they say, well, you could serve takeout. Some places can't do that, either because they're not that kind of a restaurant or that doesn't pay enough for them. There's a group of guys where I live out in Lakeside that own 5 different restaurants. They're very successful. They're very good. They were saying that none of because their restaurants tend to be bar restaurants, and they just can't keep the doors open on takeout business. So for in their case, they had to lay off 350 people. And you could do that for a couple of weeks maybe, but a lot of people can't go for, a month, 2 months, 3 months without some kind of income. And so I'm just thinking that my position is anyway, that the reaction is worse than the virus. And if you look at some of the numbers, I think I mentioned this last week, there's a really good website. It's the Powerline blog site, really great information on there. But they did a little story about this, and they were trying to put the numbers in perspective. And they used numbers from the CDC and from the World Health Organization. And these numbers were new up to the 20th, so 2 days old, basically. But if you look at global fatalities or global deaths in an annual flu season, and they give it to you in a range, but it's less than 500,000. But that's the kind of number they're looking at. If you look at in the United States, in a mild flu year, we have about 12,000 deaths. In a severe flu year, probably 50,000 or so. 3 years ago, in 2017, we had, they say, depending on who you listen to, between 60 and 80,000 died from the flu, and that was a 40-year high. If you look at what's going on with this coronavirus, right now, the global death toll, so all over the world, everything they know of is, as of 2 days ago, was 11,177. In the United States, we've had 201 so far. But there's a sensationalizing aspect to this. I just saw on the monitor here in the studio, they just put up the first San Diego coronavirus death. I mean, you would never see that, for flu or something that hasn't been politicized, I guess, the way this has been. And, my point is we need to stop this. Our politicians, our leaders need to be responsible with this stuff. And, yeah, the shutdown thing is good, I think. But I think at the end of the month, the governor and these people should say, okay, you know what? Companies that want to come back to work, that want to start opening up, are free to do so. We're going to take just the regular precautions we always do, pay attention to what you're doing. But this economic devastation, I think, is unwarranted right now. And I think the cure is going to be worse than the disease here.
Yeah, well said. From a financial standpoint, all these people wiped out. And so at what point do you throw the economy under the bus, for all of this? Well, I just don't know.
Well, yeah, and the longer you drag this on, the longer it's going to take to recover. We were talking a little bit earlier, I train project managers for a living.
Yep.
And my income went to zero when this started. So, okay, if it goes a month, 2 months, 3 months, the longer that goes, the longer it's going to take to recover. Because companies, if you're shutting companies down it's one thing for a couple of weeks. Even bigger companies, if you're going to shut them down for a month, 2 months, 3 months, when it comes back up, they have to recover this. And they're going to have to do what they need to do to recover, which means they may be laying people off. They may not be hiring people that they were going to hire. They have to make up for this. They're almost certainly not going to be training anybody. And the longer this goes, the more devastating it's going to be. And, we're really going to suffer for this, I think, the people anyway. And, our politicians should not be doing that. They should be looking out for us.
I saw a meme that had two quotes, one from March 9th, Donald Trump. And it says, the fake news media and their partner, the Democratic Party, is doing everything within its semi-considerable power, it used to be greater, to inflame the coronavirus situation far beyond what the facts would warrant. Surgeon General, quote, the risk is low to the average American. And then the second part of the meme is from March 17th. So, it's about a week later. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. Now, they put that up as if he's being hypocritical or part of the problem. Both those statements are true.
Well, and again,
it is a pandemic, and they are overreacting, and it is out of hand. And we're not in this situation because there are a ton of people that are sick. We're in this situation because there's a public policy that went way overboard.
Well, exactly. And, and if we had unfortunately, we don't have a free press anymore, and we don't have an honest, competent media.
Nope.
But if we did, those people would be screaming at these politicians. They'd be saying, what are you doing? This is not warranted. You're killing people. Why are you doing this? But we don't see that now. And if we had President Clinton today and not President Trump, you would not be seeing this hysteria, I don't think.
I agree.
I don't think you'd even be seeing it with Obama.
Well, you didn't. H1N1
Yeah, look what H1N1. And look how many people died under his reign.
I can't tell you who it is, but I know an elected official who got a briefing with a bunch of other elected officials locally from like the head infectious disease guy of the county. And the guy said, yeah, shutting down schools not warranted. This is going to be, like what Joe's saying, a very bad flu season. It's COVID-19 is actually related to a cold. It's a really bad cold, but none of that's warranted. The next day, shut down. All these same politicians who were in that room with that infectious disease guy.
Well, see, and the thing is, too, if you look at like with the school shutdowns, because my wife's a principal, and, they're talking about now Governor Newsom's talking about, well, the schools are probably going to be closed till next year. So, okay, these kids now have lost 3 months worth of school. They're not going to make that up. I mean, they're talking about distance learning and stuff, but there's a whole host of problems with that.
Care.
Well, these kids are going to go into next year now, and they're not going to hold any of them back. They'll push all of them through.
Sure.
And they're going to go into their next year not prepared, and they're going to be struggling from day one going through that. And it's all not necessary.
No.
You heard what Casey said on the last segment. They were talking about the new gun purchases, the DROS forms. He said about 7,000 to 8,000 a day. Normal's about 1,500. He said he's got people coming in that say, I don't know. I've never bought a gun before. I don't know what I want. Just point to one. I'll buy it. That's the level of panic that the government is instilling in the public, and that's bad.
But they don't seem to have a problem with it.
They don't seem to care at all. But we'll ask Brian about that in the next segment.
And then you got,
because I want to hear about that.
Then you got Governor Cuomo saying that if Trump doesn't do something about this money coming in, people are going to die. Well, he's not. He's just waiting to sign it.
Yeah, and now they're talking about too that now they're saying Cuomo now is overshadowing Bernie and Biden now as a possible
Well, have you seen what Cuomo's been doing after all of his hashtag president?
Yeah, and I think that runs in that family, though. If you look at Fredo on CNN,
right? It's just
he may be the smart one in that bunch.
Yeah, gosh, I hate.
Well, and he actually complimented the job that Trump's doing.
Well, I know, but
he and Newsom both said, yeah, Trump's doing great.
And he probably got in the ringer, and now he's turned it back around.
Because even Omar complimented the job that.
Right. And I bet they both got reprimanded for doing it too. What do you want to bet?
Yeah, I wouldn't bet that at all.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks, welcome back. You're listening to FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, folks, California assault weapon laws make it almost impossible to own an AR pattern rifle. What's the solution? Cali Key converts any mil-spec direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull bolt action rifle so it can have all the features without being considered an assault weapon. It's a true drop-in solution, no milling, no aesthetic modifications, and no turning off your gas system. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford. Cali Key, KALIKEY.com. All right, who we got calling in next?
All right, we have friend of the show, founding board member of San Diego County Gun Owners, and he also has this really cool job as state senator out in East County. Senator Brian Jones, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys, what's happening?
How's it going?
Living the dream.
You know what? Well, I don't know if we're living a dream right now or living a nightmare, but we're living something.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask your feedback on all this, and I want to get some more details and some thoughts and all kinds of stuff. But right out the gate, the last time you and I spoke, you were going to have a talk with the governor's office. And I just wanted to say, have you heard anything? There's a huge fear out there that the state's going to flip the switch and turn the DROS system off so that people can't pick up firearms, can't buy firearms. That's the background check system, basically, for the state of California. Right. And you can't pick up your firearm if DROS is not on. You have to be able to check DROS and make sure they're all good to go. So I just wanted to, right off the bat, let's get that out and tell us what you know about that.
Let's right off the bat, let's get out there. My personal philosophy is that the Second Amendment trumps DROS, but we'll have to work through that in another manner than over the radio, I think. But no, I did ask that question. I was on our caucus, the Republican caucus, did have a conference call with the governor on Friday afternoon, and he did come on the call for a little bit. But your issue came up after that call. And so I had a one-on-one call with the deputy legislative director yesterday and asked him. He hadn't heard anything about that. he thinks it's a rumor. He's checking into it and going to get back to me. So he's probably got to run that up, through the OES, which is the Office of Emergency Services, and then down the chain over at the DOJ to get, an official answer. I would find that very unlikely. I think even the Democrats that are in control in Sacramento right now understand that would create a myriad of problems that they don't want to get into.
Yeah, I really, I've been hearing it. It is just a rumor. I mean, truly, I've not seen a single reliable source even suggest this. So it is the very definition of a rumor, and I hope everybody that's listening to this, please help us squash that rumor and have everyone just relax. Ever vigilant, but please just relax. There's absolutely no truth that we can find that's even being considered. Yeah. And this is Senator Brian Jones, who, like he said, just spoke to not just the governor, but the governor's office. And he'll definitely, Brian, you're going to let me know if you do hear of anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right. That would cause enormous chaos, and even they know their limitations.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think so.
So what are your thoughts on this whole situation, the stay-at-home order and the way the state's handling this, and what are some of the things that have come across your desk that you'd like to get out?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation and miscommunication out there. Even, the local law enforcement and local jurisdictions don't understand the governor's order. So let me kind of clear up some things. The state, a lot of the press, unfortunately, has been reporting this as a shelter-in-place situation, which it absolutely 100% is not. A shelter-in-place order is when there's an imminent danger threatening your community. The law enforcement and the government officials issue that order because they know they can't get to your area in time to defend your property or your person in a manner that is safe. So they issue a shelter-in-place order. This is a stay-at-home order, and it's a stay-at-home
request. It's not. Is it even an order?
Request.
I mean,
suggestion.
Yeah. It's a request, and I'm hearing situations of law enforcement overplaying this. My son lives down by the beach, and SDPD was blocking the entrance to the parking lots at the beach, which is absolutely not part of this order. Another friend of mine said his business was visited by the sheriff's deputies asking them to close their doors because they didn't understand the order.
Here in San Diego?
Yeah. And
did that get resolved, or is he closed?
It's getting resolved.
Good.
It's getting resolved. And I will say that the miscommunication has not been coming from the governor's office, and when there is a miscommunication, he's come back on, or somebody from the office has come back on to explain, no, this is what this means. I haven't seen it, but my understanding is he even did a couple of minutes yesterday, kind of explaining some of this. For example, state parks are open right now. Now, the campgrounds are closed, but the trails are open, the state parks are open, state beaches are open. So the stay-at-home, like I think you said is a request, is, stay at home, and when you have to go out in the public, I mean, the order even says when you go out, for whatever reason, maintain a safe social distance, which in this case is 6 feet, which we ought to all be doing during flu season anyways. If nothing else good out of this whole coronavirus thing comes out of it, is all of us will maybe next year have better hygiene, and so maybe a few of us will get the flu next year, which would be nice. But so I want to just share that with your listeners that the outdoors is still open. Go enjoy it and just be cognitive of the 6 foot, safe social distancing.
So this order is not enforceable.
We're not in martial law. We're not. Yeah, I mean, Michael. I'm looking into that, and I haven't gotten a straight answer yet. What's enforceable about this and what isn't enforceable? Obviously, they were able to directly shut down nightclubs and restaurants and bars.
Right.
But as far as other businesses, Heather and I went to Lowe's yesterday. They were open. And, I think Home Depot is open during the day. Mm-hmm. They're all, my kids work at Costco. They're working extra hours right now. So Costco has been so busy.
What I've seen being actually published and mentioned, not some guy on the internet, but actual media has talked about Government Code Section 8665, which states that anyone who refuses or willfully neglects to obey a lawful order is guilty of a misdemeanor and could be fined up to $1,000 or imprisoned for 6 months or both. And that's the Government Code Section 8665 is what is, it's the enforcement part of a national disaster code,
right?
And it's it's unclear on whether or not that applies to this. If he's just saying, "Hey, probably a good idea to stay home,"
it would be good to get a constitutional attorney on and have them speak to that.
Yeah.
Well, another point too, because car dealerships,
right?
Service departments are open, but the sales side are being closed down. So I asked the dealer. Well, what's the reason? He says, we are totally confused. We don't know. So we've just closed our sales department. And then Ford.
Well, that's one of that's actually the perfect example of what I'm trying to get clarified, because the order does say that parts and service can be open, but it doesn't say sales can or can't. So, some of these dealers are they've got their sales department open, but, is that legal? Is that not legal? If it's not legal, then what's the penalty if they do it? These cars, as I explained to the governor's office yesterday, he doesn't have a concept, or some of his people don't.
No.
When on the first of every month, all of these car dealerships, at a minimum, are $800,000 in the hole.
Right.
I mean, they got $800,000 of fixed costs every month, whether they sell one car or don't sell a car.
That's right.
So, they've got to start selling cars on the first to get to that $800,000 mark as soon as possible. Some of them get there on the 15th. Some of them get there on the 30th.
And then check this out, Brian. So Ford Motor Company, to try to help out, says all 2019s, except Raptors, Shelbys, and Expeditions, will get 0% for 84 months, plus Ford's going to pay your first 6 months of your payments.
Holy cow.
Wow.
But if the dealerships are not open,
how do you collect?
How are you going to collect? I mean, it's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
Say that again.
All 2019s, these are Fords, except Raptors, Shelbys, and Expeditions, 0% for 84 months. And Ford will make the first 6 months of your payment.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is phenomenal.
But the Ford dealerships are closed. They will
84 months is too long to finance a car, but
not for some people.
It doesn't matter.
Not for some people. Some people, at 0%, hey, I'd rather keep the money and not pay the. But yet the dealerships, and they're confused because they don't have anything that's written in stone, so they can make a decision without getting in trouble.
Before we let you go, what are your thoughts on this? Every briefing you've had, every piece of information you've been given, are we going overboard, or what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, every listener that you have can do their own research on this as well. Mm-hmm. But when we compare the coronavirus impacts on death rate and people getting sick and all of that, compared to just the regular flu, the numbers don't jive.
No.
Right? So I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to be supportive of our government, in responding to this. I'm just not convinced yet. I'm not convinced yet that this is reasonable and proportional.
And the damage that's being done is irreversible.
Economic damage, yeah.
Yeah, economic.
That economic damage is to some people is going to be irreversible.
Likely to millions of Californians.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll even go into my world.
Look, guys, we got to be careful on criticizing just California on this. Our president's the one that's leading the charge on this. So,
right.
Like I said, our governor is he's responding to the leadership of the president at this point in time.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Hey, it's always good talking to you. I wish we had more time to chat with you. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you, Senator Jones.
All right, thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right.
You too.
Folks, this is FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, Laura, he ate all the brownies.
Don't listen to him.
They're not brownies, they're blondies.
He ate all the blondies. I tried to save you one. I tried. Just ate.
I ate some too, so it's
but
I was curious to see if you could say the answer.
If I could get
there.
the answer
I'd
out
get
with
that
all the molasses.
all over
well,
the
you
place.
got it all drooling down your face.
Oh, my God.
Social
Eileen,
distance, though.
if you're listening, this is delicious.
Yeah, you're the best.
Thank you.
You can do all our cooking. A.O. Swart Firearms and Gun Store. Have you been to A.O. Swart Firearms in El Cajon? They've got the widest selection of guns in San Diego County with over 600 unique guns in stock, including hundreds of used guns. Go see their full-service experienced gunsmith. They can do everything from mild repairs to full custom firearms. A.O. Swart Firearms Store, located at 929 East Main Street in El Cajon. Go to their website, aoswart.com, or call them 619-749-4867. Build, buy, or repair. A.O. Swart Firearms is your go-to place for all things firearms. That's aoswart.com. Call them at 619-749-4867. But my recommendation, email them, because I have a sneaky feeling our man, David Chong, who's on the line right now, is one busy individual.
Man, I just talked to you a week ago, and the world has changed. We're gonna have to rewrite our ad copy because it used to say the widest selection of guns in San Diego.
Now you don't have nothing.
Yeah, we have some guns in San Diego. Come on down.
Isn't it crazy? And all the people you're getting in have never owned a firearm, right?
Yeah, 90% brand new gun owners. So every single one is. We love to do it all the time. It's just hard, a hand-holding process, because every one of them is wide-eyed. I can't believe what it takes.
And you have to explain to each and every one of them. It's kind of like, hey, you voted these people in, so, don't be complaining to me.
I was so thankful to have a representative of the San Diego County Gun Owners at our store yesterday, all day long. Gina Roberts helping people understand the gun laws and helping them through the process, getting them lined out before they got through the door. We need more of that, Michael, so get some volunteers lined up.
That was Madam Ambassador. Doesn't she do a great job? Fabulous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, we already told Michael that he needs to.
So what was she? What exactly was she doing? Was she like? What kind of information needs to get out there?
So it's what I've been doing. What I've been doing all week, which is why I've almost. Well, I lost my voice. And just
yes, I could tell.
Sound a little Demi Moore,
The gist. The gist of it is everyone who's buying a gun for the first time, raise your hand. They all go up, and then okay, folks. Here's what you need. We run them through their ID and their documentation. And then for those who, that culls the line a little bit because some of them don't have that and can't get it. Others, they say, well, I can get it online. Great. Email it to us while you're sitting here. You'll be fine. Other folks, many people, hundreds, I'm not saying 100, I'm saying multiple hundred people were turned down from the line over this past week and a half because they've got a federal limit supply ID and no proof of their citizenship. That's a no-go for a gun.
We told them.
So, yeah, we did. We did that story last summer,
You
right?
were one of the first ones to bring that to attention, that whole thing with the, the driver's license.
Thank you. I yelled it from the rooftops, and
you did.
That post got 11 million views on Facebook. Yeah, so we tell them what they're going to need to buy a gun, and then we tell them about the process. You mean I can't take a gun home today? What about, isn't this a gun show? Isn't there a loophole? There's no gun show loophole in California, no. And
anywhere.
Then, right, anywhere. And then lastly, once we've helped the folks kind of a triage on gun buyers, then it's ammo buyers. I've got a gun. I just want to get some 38 special for Grandpa's gun. Well, have you bought a gun in California before? Okay, no, then you don't have a gun registered to you, so you're not going to be able to take home ammo today. And the normal 15-minute to 2-hour basic background check that does a one-time comprehensive background check on a potential ammo purchaser. Now we're not getting answers for days, so we tell them you're not going to be able to get your ammo for days if you still want to wait in line, and we lose a lot of them as well. So it's a very disappointing line for a lot of people who haven't done this before. The folks who know what they're doing, they're already and used to it, and they get in there, and our line starts short. When we open the door, we've already got about a half-hour line, sometimes an hour. And by the time we cut off the line to any further guests, we've got about a 2-hour line at the end of the day. That's why we close it off between 2 and 4 p.m.
Is there any common denominator? Like, or are these just people of all ages, all walks of life? Is there anything? You know what I mean? Is there anything that all these people have in common, or are they just these
I
are
will
the
tell
people
you
in your
the
neighborhood?
one thing that they have in common, the one thing that they have in common, because otherwise it's a massively wide political spectrum, ideological spectrum, racial spectrum. But the one thing they have in common is I never thought that I would be a gun owner. I never saw the need for me to have a gun before.
Wow.
And all that's changed is they have realized what gun owners have known all this time, is that we are responsible for our own personal security and safety.
Mm-hmm. So are you, when they come in and they want to buy a pistol or they want to maybe buy a shotgun, I'm assuming most people just come in and they think they just want a pistol, but I don't know, maybe some of them like a shotgun or whatever. But are you
the shotguns were absolute. Do you remember 4 weeks ago I was so lousy with used security shotguns, I was running a sale, and I never run sales. Those were the first things to go. Wow. Everybody thought Uncle Joe Biden must know something, so I'll get a shotgun and I'll shoot a blast into the air and run away
through the door. Okay, but when they're in there buying their shotgun or buying their pistol, do you get any remarks? Because you're a pretty heavy AR shop. So do you get any remarks about that? Has that conversation come up, or people, I'll buy a pistol, but not an AR?
1 in 50 people are like, well, I don't need an assault weapon. Well, we don't sell assault weapons. But and then it is those people specifically where I will pull aside and I will tell them, ballistically speaking, here's what this 9mm is going to do through 3 rooms of your house. Here's what the shotgun is going to do to your body. And here's what it's like to shoot an AR-15. And I encourage listeners to go onto our Facebook page. Matter of fact, I'll share it to bring it up to the top. Back a year and a half ago, some liberal news writer said he had PTSD from shooting an AR-15 for the first time. So I went out to the range and I held an AR-15 with one hand and shot it repeatedly with my outstretched arm, and showed that there's really no lighter shooting gun in a centerfire caliber than an AR-15.
Is that ridiculous?
Wonderfully easy to handle and shoot. And so I will, before I let them buy a gun, they get the speech about this is the best home protection that you could buy, with the easiest path to learning other than perhaps a revolver. But you are more likely to hit your target with an AR-15.
And it looks cool.
And I haven't had anybody refuse to drink that Kool-Aid yet.
The week after that,
matter of fact, some of them bought the AR.
Good. The week after that reporter wrote that malarkey, we had a shooting social, and we got video of a 17-year-old girl who was visiting from Iceland. And she was all of about 100 and nothing pounds, and she shot the AR and had this huge smile on her face, which I don't know why she didn't have post-traumatic. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my gosh! And what an affront to my brothers in arms who actually do carry a burden of PTSD.
No kidding.
In their lives.
Sad.
Oh my
well,
goodness.
this kind of crisis, you really. it's clarifying, isn't it? It kind of cuts through all the anti-gun BS, all the anti-gun, well, gee, you don't need this, or you're more likely to hurt yourself than defend yourself with a gun. There's a strong clarifying effect that just, people go, hey, you know what? The most effective way for me to protect myself in time of crisis is a firearm.
That's absolutely correct. I am a world champion martial artist back in a galaxy far, far away, long time ago. The average citizen could not do anything to protect themselves from me if I decided to violate the social contract and exert my physical will against them, unless they have a firearm.
So let me ask you this: you're a martial arts expert, trained martial arts expert.
Sure.
If I were going to put this 17-year-old girl with an AR, or Tito Ortiz, one of the two,
or John Wick,
not John Wick, who would you rather go toe to toe with, the 17-year-old with the AR or Tito Ortiz?
I would much rather, so long as the 17-year-old had squared herself away emotionally with the ability to pull that trigger, I would much rather get into the ring with Tito Ortiz, even with a long time limit.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no chance against a young woman armed with an AR-15 and the will to survive.
Yep.
Well,
there you
go. Wow.
You're the best,
well,
Dave.
Thanks, buddy. Stay safe.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Try to get some sleep, gargle, and you'll be fine.
Go see me on TV. PBS did a national news story on me.
Oh, really? When's it air?
What's up?
It's already up. It's shared on my Facebook page, or you can Google PBS AO Sword.
Now you're okay. Your new name is Hollywood.
We'll talk to you later, guys.
All right. This is FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
No sleep till.
All right, folks. Welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio. FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
California assault weapon laws make it almost impossible to own an AR pattern rifle. What is the solution? It's Cali Key. It'll convert any mil-spec direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull bolt action rifle so it can have all the features without being considered an assault weapon. It's a true drop-in solution. No milling, no aesthetic modifications, and no turning off your gas system. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford with Cali Key. Check out Cali Key at calikey.com, KALIKEY.com. Hey, self-defense and emergencies can happen to anyone, and unfortunately, the justice system may not be on your side. While you protect your family and property, U.S. Law Shield is here to defend you 24/7, 365 days a year, with the comprehensive self-defense coverage at an affordable price. Bad guys don't take days off, and neither does U.S. Law Shield. What's your plan after you defend yourself or your family? Consider a plan from U.S. Law Shield. Check them out today at uslawshield.com. That's uslawshield.com. Hey, the refi bell just went off this week. Home mortgage interest rates have dropped to an historic low. If you're looking to buy or refi, or if you're considering a reverse mortgage, call our local mortgage guy that you can trust. Call Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. Give Chris a call at 619-722-1303 or primeres.com/Alpine.
You know, we've been talking about people, and by the way, we have Sam on the line. We're going to do Stump My Nephew every week. We ask a question of my 20-year-old nephew, and we try to stump him. And if you send in a question and we use your question, you get a T-shirt. If you stump him, you get a T-shirt and a hat. Sam, are you there?
Yep, good to have you back, Uncle Mike.
Hey, man. So we were just talking about, of course, you work at a gun shop in Virginia. By the way, Virginia under the same kind of stay-at-home order? And if so, where do you know where that is? That coming from your governor? Or are you guys following federal advice? Or what's going on there?
Well, we aren't under lockdown yet, but it's starting to look like we might get to that point. Our state hasn't really been infected to the same degree some other ones are. but we really don't know where this is going. All the schools have shut down, the public schools. All the universities have moved to online classes, and most people are kind of staying home.
So, and you work at a gun shop. Are you guys, everybody going nuts?
That doesn't even begin to describe it.
And are they all new? Are they all new buyers like we're hearing here in California? Are they all brand new gun owners?
I'm pleasantly surprised I'm pleasantly surprised to see a lot of new gun owners coming in. Prospective gun owners coming in, hoping to buy and arm themselves because they're realizing that it's important to have that capacity to defend one's life and one's family and one's home.
You know, guys, there has to be some news source out there. I'm not just talking about like the mainstream, CNN, MSNBC. There has to be like some kind of news stories that are being produced that our side of the political spectrum isn't reading and the other side of the political spectrum is reading, and we're all going, what is why is everybody freaking out? And the other side's going, we better go buy a gun. There has to be a series of articles out here. You know what I mean? Like some of these, like Slate and, some of these tend to be politically left side news sources, The Atlantic.
I've actually seen a few articles in a lot of those left-leaning media outlets saying basically that you shouldn't go out and buy a gun, sort of trying to bail some water out of the boat, hoping a lot of their people don't come over to the, join the dark side, so to speak.
Well, then it's not that, if that's what they're saying, but it just, why are the two sides so different?
Well, I think when you get down to it, people are afraid. Gun owners aren't afraid. Gun owners have guns. It's, when these other people are afraid like that, because I don't know that it's a left-right news thing.
They don't trust their government to protect them.
Well, because, even if you look at Fox, Fox is the same thing. It's been 24/7, corona, and it's just the end of the world there, too.
Yeah, well, that was my theory. I don't know. It's so weird that there's such a, you perceive, from what I'm hearing from gun shop folks, is that, 2 weeks ago, these people did not think they'd ever be gun owners, and they are now waiting in line for hours to be gun owners.
Right. Well, again, though, because they're being frightened by the government, by this overreaction. I think that's what it is. As a gun owner, like I said, if you're responsible, you should have ammunition. You should have guns. You're not trying to get them in the crisis.
I guess it's that simple. I guess you're right. All right. Well, shall we ask our question?
Go for it.
All right, Joanna from the beautiful city of Oceanside, right here in sunny San Diego. Joanna wants to know, she said, what's another name for the Barrett M82A1 50 caliber sniper rifle? She wants to know another name for the Barrett M82A1 50 caliber sniper rifle.
I hate to tell you this one, but you asked it last time.
Oh, really?
You did.
Whoa, has he got a memory?
Oh. So I guess he wins. Do I lose a shirt?
You lose it.
I got to take my shirt off?
No, we don't want you to take your shirt off.
Why? That was my question. All right. Well, who else has got a question?
I think that was the question.
That was the question.
Did you get it right last time?
Yes, of course he did. He always gets it right. So going back to your situation, when you have these people coming in that have never bought a gun before, do you do any kind of education when you're talking to them? Do you explain to them, the folks you voted in really is part of the problem? Or do you just sell them a gun?
No, I really don't address politics with customers I don't really address politics with customers in the shop unless they're regulars whose political viewpoints I already am aware of. Because really, honestly, I think that the single most important thing we as the gun-owning community can do to strengthen our position is outreach. And a big part of outreach is me being the guy behind the counter, creating as welcoming an environment as I possibly can for people for whom it took a long time to work up the nerve to walk into a gun store.
Yeah, that's true. That's very good. How old are you?
20 years old.
Well, the other thing we could do is, follow what the churches have done for years, and that just have a whole bunch of babies, and then as gun owners, and then you have a whole bunch of baby gun owners.
You're going to see that in November from this stay-at-home thing.
Yeah, it's called
about 9 months.
Yeah, in about 9 months, you're going to have so many little rascals running around.
And they'll be called the Coronians.
That's
nice.
That's the new group.
There you go.
So,
how about this? I got a question.
Oh, I knew you couldn't stand it.
Let's hear it.
In the mid-1850s, jailers used to have keys that doubled as single-shot guns as a last resort for self-defense. Jailers would use these keys to unlock cell doors, and if something happened, they needed... And if something happened and they needed to shoot...
Sorry, Joe.
How would they fire a key gun?
What do you mean? What was the trigger mechanism, or what?
What would actually make the gun go off? What would they do to actually shoot the gun?
Turn the key?
No.
I don't know. It's probably not turning the key, because that's the other thing you have to do with it. But I'm really not very familiar with that part of firearms obscura.
It is. Yeah. This is totally obscure. I'm not even going to count this against you. They would touch their cigar to the gunpowder hole, which caused the key gun to fire.
So it's a matchlock.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, what if you don't smoke cigars?
Well, I think you had to be a jailer.
Oh, I see. A prerequisite.
If you're going to be a tough-as-nails lawman in the 1850s, then you're puffing a cigar every day of the week.
There you go. That's absolutely right.
What's the difference between a jailer and a jeweler?
What?
Cigar?
A jailer watches cells, and a jeweler sells watches.
I buy my watches from Walmart, so I don't know what you're talking about.
So do I. Thank you very much. And I talk him into putting an $8 Velcro because it's easier to put on. Hey, let me ask you this. Like out here, our average gun sales per store, 4 to 8 a day. Now they're up to over 40 a day. Are you seeing the same sales volume at your store?
Exactly. That's pretty much how it is.
Wow.
Sales volume on weekdays has gone up by almost 1,000%, and a bigger portion of our sales numbers are in firearms and ammunition, not so much in accessories.
Right. And do you now, like here, we have lines to go out and around the building, and we only allow a couple of people in at a time. Are you doing that same thing?
No, we don't really have the room in our shop to have lines that snake around the block, but we do have enough room to fit plenty of people in. So it's pretty much a constant stream of people, but somehow we manage.
Wow. I mean, it's got to be a hard day.
It is, definitely, but it's good to see that more people are getting into it and sort of taking that time to think, what if someone breaks into my house? How am I going to defend myself?
Right. And out here, the only thing they're worried about somebody breaking into their house is that they would steal their toilet paper. Because that's our problem out here.
That's probably how it is out here, judging by the way the grocery store shelves look.
Hey, buddy, it's always good talking to you. So we'll talk to you next week. Be safe, and we'll talk at you down the road.
Yep. Glad to be on, as always, and make sure you defend your white gold there.
There you go. You got it. All right, folks, this has been Gun Sports Radio. I want to thank Firearms Legal Protection, San Bernardino County Gun Owners, U.S. Law Shield, Cali Key, PRMI Mortgage, Gatsky Dillon and Balance LLP, the Gun Range San Diego, A.O. Sword, and, of course, Lance Pelkey, Michael Schwartz, Joe Dermisi, and Brandon Thomas, our board op. Go to gunsportsradio.com for podcast up-to-dates, and you can even contact us right there. Be safe, folks. We'll be back next week.
This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.